Well, good evening and welcome to Constitutional Considerations here on Tactical Review. I'm Blair. I'm glad you can join us, and as you can see, there's no Elias over in this part of your screen. He had something come up there literally like 20 minutes before we were getting ready to come on, and he unfortunately had to kind of bail on us tonight. He wanted me to pass along a hello, and so there you go. Hello. All right, who we got in the chat here? As you guys can see from the topic and the title, one of the things that, well, there's a few things we're wanting to talk about. One of them being the results of the Georgia Senate race. And, sorry, I got my tinfoil on just so the government drones can't read my thoughts. And the reflection of the light is making me a little confused. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the results of the Senate runoff race, what those might mean, and that was going to be a fantastic place for Elias to join in. He has probably forgotten more than I've ever known about the workings, or the supposed to be workings, of the government, state and federal. It's always been a passion of his, and sadly, it was always one of those things that I was like, yeah, it's working, we're fine. And as we've seen today, out in Washington, D.C., as well as other places around the country, it's working might not be the best response. And then finally, just want to talk a little bit more. Well, I don't want to, but figure we'll talk a little bit more about the ATF and their pistol brace referendum. So anyhow, that's kind of where we are right now. So let's just sort of get into it. It's been all doom and gloom all day. Basically, as soon as I opened Instagram this morning, it was just, this is the end. This is the end. But the two Senate positions that were available were both held by Republicans. That was David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. Loeffler? It's an OE, so in German that should be Loeffler. Now, whether or not it's actually pronounced that way, I don't know. Anyway, both of them were voted out in favor of their Democrat counterparts. That's the word I was going for. That would be John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. So, again, if you look at a state map based on counties, as is the case in almost every state in the United States, by landmass, the map is red. However, the population density in those non-red counties is enough to absolutely offset, especially when, like, I'm looking at Hancock County in the Perdue-Ossoff results. 72, a little bit more than 72% went Democrat there. We've got 83% Democrat in DeKalb County, 71 in Fulton County, 88% Democrat in Clayton County. And if you're an individual who lives in a very blue area, like our friend Elias, who we were hoping would join us Again, he wasn't able to be here. You know, possibly your best bet is to move your conservative vote out and bolster an already conservative area, or convince your conservative friends to move in and offset. One of these days, though, I am going to do a study on population density and kind of political leanings. I know that by and large, higher population densities are overwhelmingly more liberal. I'm just curious as to whether that's a situation of the liberal-minded individuals are more likely. It would make sense. All right, let me back up. Let me hit pause here and try to vocalize my thoughts here. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is I'm wondering if it's a case of correlation or causation. Right? So what I'm trying to say here is, do liberal-minded people flock to more densely populated areas? Or does being in a more populated area tend to make somebody more liberal? And I'm honestly not sure the answer to that, and I'm kind of curious. So anyway, obviously feel free to chime in. But where I was going with giving you those results is, again, a lot of people have just kind of been forecasting doom and gloom, and it's the end of the republic. And I don't know, kind of in a lot of ways, I felt the same way. And then Elias reminded me, what this has done is this has put the Senate at a 50-50 split. So, and when you consider the fact that the vice president is the deciding vote, you can call it 51-50, but it doesn't necessarily give the Democrats that super majority where they can shove anything through. Because I believe that they've got to hit 60%. Again, I wish Elias had been able to join us, is what it is. But he was explaining that to me, and again, I've forgotten so much from my government class in my senior year. And the thing is that, we teach this in high school, at least the high schools I'm involved with still teach it. But those students have no basis for reference. When they're hearing these things, they don't have that experience of having voted and having seen how policies might impact them. And so we give them this theoretical information, kind of, that they don't have the practical application, and then we expect them to go out and use this. And so let's take seniors this year who weren't old enough to vote, and then they graduate, and it's going to be 4 years before they have that 2 years for congressional, but yeah. So, and Elias just sent me a message. He said he listened in for a minute, and it's a good point. Population densities don't matter in non-presidential elections, because it's okay. That makes sense, because it's just a pure popular vote. So I guess if you're a conservative, do a better job of impacting those around you. I don't know. And that's kind of the catch-22 here, is that more conservative-minded people tend to be more independent. I think. Maybe not. I'm not saying that somebody who's liberal-minded can't be independent, obviously. But once again, when you look at a county map and how the votes typically go in most states, more rural areas where you are further away from any kind of socially established safety net, those areas tend to be red. And I feel like there's a correlation there. But good call out that in anything other than presidential election where there is the electoral college to offset things, population density doesn't matter. All right. And then I'm sure you guys have seen the news. If you haven't, that's probably a smart idea to stay away from the news right now. However, there was a protest scheduled in Washington, D.C. today. It was a pro-Trump protest. Basically, just folks aggravated about the apparent legislative and judicial lack of concern for what seems to be election tampering. And so, yes, there was a protest, and then the protest turned, I'm gonna say violent, but not to the level of violence that we saw earlier this year. The protesters did, in fact, storm the Capitol building. The Capitol building was evacuated. And so protesters, rioters, revolutionaries, I just, depending on which news source you're using, you're going to see them called different things. Anyway, they kind of ran amok. The Capitol building was evacuated so quick that computers were left unlocked, emails up, and as a computer guy, that bothers me. Look, it doesn't take anything when you're walking away from your computer to hit Windows key and L, or I think it's Command Option Q on your Mac system to lock your keyboard. You know, InfoSec. Got to practice safe security, safe sex. InfoSec, ComSec, OPSEC, things like that. So anyway, last I heard, there had been some computers and or hard drives that were liberated from the premises. Here's the thing, is that any information that would be gleaned from those that would indicate criminal wrongdoing, that information is inadmissible in any court aside from the court of popular opinion. Of course, that information could be gotten to somebody like Joe Rogan, or somebody like Alex Jones, and something done with it. Just a sec, guys. I have some people trying to join the stream, and I don't think that they're going to the right location. Anyway, before I go much further into the situation, I do want to express condolences to the family of the individual who lost their life. I believe it was Capitol Police fired through a door, striking an unarmed individual, is the information that I last saw. That individual was receiving medical care and then unfortunately did succumb. So I don't want to be callous for anybody who was severely injured or any life lost. Um, I don't want to make light of that. And Elias pointed out also earlier that this is the first time that the Capitol building has been overrun since the War of 1812. So there's fun facts. We're right on the precipice of history. Oh, Joe, there's a reason that I've done the live.tac review. You're going to want to go ahead and subscribe to this channel uh, because I've spun off. This is a channel just for my live streams. So if you're watching here and you're not subscribed to the main channel, that link is down below in the description, or you can just go to tacreview.com. And then if you're a subscriber to the main channel, but you're interested in these more political discussions, go ahead and subscribe here. Appreciate a thumbs up on it too, but definitely subscribe to the channel. That way you see when we've got a live stream coming up. So sorry for the confusion there, man. A couple months back now, I spun off a standalone channel just for the live streams because the tone and the concept of the live streams doesn't necessarily fit in with the main concept of tactical review. So anyway, so welcome newcomers. Appreciate you guys being here. And again, if you're just joining, wanted to point out that for the doom and gloomers out there, the Democrats don't necessarily have enough votes to just ramrod anything they want through. I didn't look at the actual percentages, but Elias assures me that they actually had a stronger majority back during the Obama administration and still really only got one identifiably liberal agenda passed through. So anyway, we were talking about the goings-on in D.C., and I'm going to go ahead and just tell you guys I'm going to be wishy-washy because I understand the frustration that has led to the events of the day, but I can't necessarily say that I condone it. Though, if I was told that I have to condone one set of mostly peaceful protests, the ones from the summer, or the actions of today, I would. The actions of today, no, they really don't make more sense, right? Because it's still just people getting mad because they didn't get their way. What I'm curious about, and we've talked about this before, about the hypocrisy that we see rampant everywhere. And again, I fully admit I am more than capable of being a hypocrite myself. With that owned, I'm just wondering how many people that 6 months ago were saying rioting is the voice of the voiceless, or whatever that Martin Luther King quote is. How many of them are going to be condemning today's action? And actually, I shared little Cup of Joe there. He posted on his story earlier, and I shared that. Said the people in the Capitol are the same ones who called Black Lives Matter folks extremists, told them to get over it, go to work, etc. You all are embarrassing, and the extremists on both sides are the reason there's unrest in this country. You are the divide. And that's exactly true. You can't sit there and say, oh, I want the police to just go round up the BLM protesters, and then say, well, I don't want secret police coming and kicking down my door and taking my guns. For the record, I don't want the secret police coming, kicking down my door, shooting my family and my dog, and taking my guns. But again, Elias and I talked about this. It was a sketchy thing that not just federal agents, but it looks like civilian contractors were sent in out on the West Coast. And to me, that's an act of war against sovereign citizens. So then the flip side. Today, we have these pro-Trumps, or these Trump supporters, who break into the Capitol building. Now, one thing I'm curious about, though, is the amount of damage done. Because, once again, last January, when Governor Northam was so concerned about the potentially violent Pro-2A protesters, and then not only was that protest not violent, but the city was left cleaner than it was before the protests kicked off. So I'm curious to know, aside from potential theft, again, I've heard that there have been computers and hard drives taken, but I'm curious to know what kind of vandalism did or didn't take place. And, I've got the tinfoil on. I'm also going to go ahead and say that there have been reports that Antifa had plants in the protesting groups, and that very likely they were the ones who incited the main group to go ahead and storm the Capitol. Is that true? I don't know. I wasn't there. All right, I was here in North Central Indiana. I was at work. So I can't say one way or another. I do know that Guns and Gadgets was on location in D.C., and he said that nothing untoward happened in the group he was with. So obviously, when you have thousands and tens of thousands of people, what happens in one group isn't necessarily what's happening in another group. So, with that said, though, there was something I wanted to share with you guys. Let me see if I can find it. If my computer will cooperate, it probably won't. Yeah. Earlier this morning, Ryan Mickler, founder of the Order of Man movement, He posted this on his Twitter and then shared it to Instagram. So he said this, and this goes for, I don't care if you're conservative, if you're liberal, if you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, Communist Party, no, Communist Party, screw you, whatever. This goes for all of us. If you're mad about the direction of the country, get strong/healthy. Gain knowledge about our system. This one, I'm trying, and I still do terrible with this one, and it's not being taught. Develop new skill sets. Get out of debt. Gain influence with family, friends, neighbors, and rally people behind you. He goes on to say, millions of men can do this. The ball is in our court. And that's the thing, is gaining that influence is what's going to allow us to offset those population density issues that I was talking about earlier. You know, again, I'm not going to say I have the right answer here. But one thing that did occur to me, at risk of having my door kicked in by the brown shirts, is I kind of feel like, boy, this is an extreme comment here. I feel like outside every legislature building across the whole country, in every state, and outside of the Capitol building, I believe that there should be gallows erected. Now let me explain this, because I'm not saying that we need to take them all out and string them up, necessarily. These individuals, upon being elected, swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America. According to said Constitution, they work for we the people. And instead, they get to Washington and they go to work for Big Pharma or China or Amazon or Facebook or whomever, right? Whoever will line their pockets. They go to work for themselves, taking a $172,000 annual paycheck and turning it into a multi-million-dollar annual paycheck. That's treason. They're there to work for us, and instead they work against us. They work to consolidate their own power. Maybe if every time they went into work, they walked past a stark reminder that treason is punishable by death, maybe some of them would get it. Of course, my FBI agent's watching this and being like, dude, I'm going to have to come knock on your door now. Okay? What I am not saying, all right, huge disclaimer here, I am not telling anybody to go grab an elected representative and do something stupid. Okay? I'm not saying that. But even the reminder is offensive to those statists. Case in point, 1 year ago, Richmond, Virginia, somebody actually built a guillotine. And I think it had a sign that said treason is punishable by death. And the police made this individual disassemble it. Oh, Bach. Be self-sufficient. Yep. Never rely on the government for anything. They don't care about you. The only reason the government gives any of us anything, all right, and first I'm going to say the fact that it's big enough to give anybody anything is the best indicator that the government is too big. Whenever somebody says, oh, the government should guarantee health care. No. The federal government should not be big enough to be able to do that. Well, the government needs to... No. Shouldn't be big enough to do that. Anyway, but the only reason that they give us anything, it's the story of Joseph Stalin and the chicken. And if you haven't heard the story, it means that you don't listen to the Real AF podcast, because Sal shared this on last week or 2 weeks ago episode. But Joseph Stalin once took a chicken, a live chicken, and ripped all of its feathers out. There's the chicken's just screaming and squawking. He's a bloody, painful mess. Stalin throws the chicken down, and of course it runs away from him. And he takes a little handful of corn and sprinkles it on the ground. That chicken comes running back over, eats the corn, and just keeps pecking around Stalin's feet, looking for more corn. The reason the government gives any of us anything is just so they can keep doing whatever terrible things they want to do, and they know that the least those among us with the least fortitude are just going to come scratching around and beg for more. Anyway, Bach went on to say, taking our jobs and livelihoods and our taxes, giving it to other countries in the form of our own relief. Yeah, that's... Actually, I'm even more disgusted with that quote-unquote COVID relief package, because, and again, that was a 5,000-page bill that I believe they were given less than 48 hours to look at. So my initial understanding was that this was supposed to be a COVID relief bill, that everybody put their little pet projects in there, things like $10 million for gender studies in Pakistan. I was told later, and this is almost more disgusting, that omnibus spending bill that had, liberal agenda crap, had pro-state right-leaning agenda crap, just, crap all over the country and all over the world. That was everybody's pet projects that they were already trying to get passed. And what they did was they took that COVID relief stimulus and just plugged it into this existing omnibus spending package. So I guess that the idea was that they had this desired spending package that they may or may not have gone through, and in order to kind of grease the skids, they gave everybody in the country $2 a day or some crap. I mean, really, did any of you guys stop to think about that? 9 months. Was it 9 months? That sounds about right. Let's call it 8 months. 8 months from one stimulus to the next stimulus. Small businesses have gone under around the country. Business owners thrown in jail, fined and fined again. And they gave, for 240 days, round figure, $600. I'm not going to figure out the decimal on that, $2 and change a day. You couldn't even go buy a Big Mac a day for the pittance that they signed off on. But there again, that wasn't the answer in the first place. Everyone wants to keep screaming, look at the science, look at the science. Okay, statistics are a science, and the statistics say, open things back up. I mean, that's ridiculous. And so that kind of thing is why I understand the frustration that led to storming the Capitol. Now, there have been so many things, though, aside from, well, my guy didn't win the election, that should have led us to storming the Capitol a long time ago. Patriot Act, renewing the Patriot Act. I mean, so many things over the last 20 years that have given the government more and more authority to spy on each of us. Innocent until proven guilty? I don't think so. They're reading every email, every text message, and what the government's not actively doing, private companies are doing for them. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so all of these things, somewhere along the way, should have spurred us into action. Maybe. Now, what should that action be? I don't know. Once again, I'm with Elias. Every 2 years, we're given the option, we're given the privilege, the responsibility to create a peaceful revolution. Not storming the Capitol building, not using the cartridge box, but we start out with the soapbox and then we go to the ballot box. But there again, there's a large contingency of the country who believes that the ballot box was rigged. And so, yeah, I don't know. But once again, 6 months ago, I did not agree with setting major cities around the country on fire. And so today, I don't condone violence. On the other hand, I told you I'm going to be wishy-washy because I'm still trying to sort through this myself mentally. But on the other hand, every elected representative needs constant reminder that they are not our leaders. If you're still using that verbiage, you need to quit. I'm trying to train myself out of it. They are not our leaders. They are our representatives. We are their boss. And some of them need fired. A lot of them need fired. I guess my cat thinks that I need fired. Again, condolences to the individual who lost their life today in the Capitol building. And I don't have a lot else to say. I'm going to be watching this as it develops, just like you guys will, and trying to make heads or tails. Speaking of developments, let's go back. Yeah. Yeah, Joe, that's exactly right. And you know, I fell victim to that a little bit back in November about the two-party system. Um, but that's it goes back to there's a saying, left wing, right wing, doesn't matter. They're both on the same bird. And but clear, you look at, well, once again, I didn't feel fully I didn't feel fully represented by any of the three national candidates. And so it's back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to be really honest. I'm kind of surprised that Indiana doesn't have a libertarian governor. Because I know in my area, a large number of people voted libertarian. Not really enough to move the needle. But yeah. And as far as the fact that most of the country is missing half of their face, I'm going to just repeat what Andy Frisella says. That'll end when we, the people, decide that it's over. I've only had to leave one store in north central Indiana. But literally, for my employment, unfortunately, in the hallways, I have to wear one. In my office, I don't, and nowhere outside of that building have I worn a mask. Man, months. And if that makes me an a-hole, if that makes me selfish, so be it. Yeah, I want freedom for myself and my children. Freedom to make my own decisions where it comes to health. And what people don't seem to understand is that even if, everybody's so focused on beating COVID, they're not looking at the numbers. They're just feeding off of the fear. And it's a good thing this channel's not monetized, because this video never would get monetized. But anyway, they're so busy feeding off the fear that they never stop to think about it's so what if nobody else dies of COVID, nobody else dies? Guys, memento mori. Remember you will die, or remember you are mortal. Make it count. You get one life. Well, okay. I believe you get 2 lives, but we get one life on this earth. We have one chance to make an impact. We have one chance to reach people with whatever ideas we think are important. We have one chance. And hiding at home isn't going to reach anybody. Hiding at home, what about that individual that you would have reached with whatever you're doing, that you would have reached somebody? I don't know what that is. Maybe you coach a little league team. But you hide at home and you don't fight for having those little league programs. And so that influence isn't made into a young person's life. And the negative influences just overwhelm them, and they get to the point where they choose suicide. Memento mori. I mean, I can't say it any other way. So, yeah, we've all got to find our voice. And sometimes it's scary. Well, what if my opinion gets me fired? Well, did you present it respectfully? Because that's a problem too. If the other person can't stand to hear anything that's not an echo of what they want to hear to the point that you lose your job, well, maybe you're better off not being in that place. I don't know. And that's hard to say. I'm not saying that I want to lose my job because of this channel, because of this video, right? But it makes me think of Greg Anderson. Right? If you don't know Greg Anderson's story, man, that's phenomenal. And you ought to check out his podcast, Endless Endeavor. Surely, if you're watching my channel, you know of Greg Anderson. Earlier this year, he was a police officer. He's a former Army Ranger. He was a police officer for Port of Seattle, Washington. And he put out a video on his Instagram. He was in uniform, and he just speaking to his fellow officers across the country and basically said, you know, you don't have to do anything unconstitutional. You took an oath to the Constitution. You didn't take an oath to your governor. So if they're telling you to do things through executive order that are unconstitutional, tell them no. And if it means your job, it means your job. Well, within a couple of days, it meant his job. So he had to put his money where his mouth is. And, you know, fortunately, the patriotic community got a hold of that, and he is doing pretty well in the aftermath of that. But yeah, I think it's time that we start speaking up. You know, we have now multiple generations that have been taught tolerance to the point that they're intolerant. It's this strange juxtaposition. And tolerance to the point that they won't have even needed conflict until the point that it builds up, and then we see cities on fire, right? Yeah. Oh, man. Tatum. That's the nail on the head. That's the nail on the head. When are we going to work on flattening those curves? When are we going to work on flattening the depression curve? When are we going to work on flattening the domestic violence curve? Of course, that's another problem entirely. The fact that we're having a higher rate of domestic violence because spouses are together or domestic partners are together. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem by itself. But it's being compounded. You know, it's being brought to a head. You know, when are we going to flatten the curve of suicide? But you're right. Nobody wants to talk about that. And then we have all of the oxymorons going on. You know, oh, you got to wear a mask to prevent transmission. Okay, cool. So we can open things up if we wear masks. Well, no, we can't do that. Well, what if you get the shot? I'm going to call it that. Try not to get yanked off YouTube. Well, if I take the shot, I don't have to wear a mask, right? Well, no, you still got to set a good example. But if we all get the shot, we can wear masks and open everything up. No, because we can't guarantee. Excuse me? Well, then what's the point? Oh, man. Yeah, the obesity epidemic, that's, you know, and our solution has been just coop people up. But I do have to say, and I don't have any additional facts beyond, there was an end-of-the-year wrap-up from Map My Fitness, which is an Under Armour company. And Map My Fitness users logged a record high number of activity during 2020 compared to any previous year. So maybe being cooped up inside got people to realize what they were missing, and more people actively sought out some sort of activity. I don't know. Again, I don't have any verification of that. I'm trusting Under Armour, which is probably a mistake. So, yeah. But that goes back to what Mickler said. Look, guys, if you're letting your health or your fitness slide, it's on you. I mean, and I realize not everybody is as fortunate as I am. I live out in a rural area. I confine to my house not a single day because I walk outside and I'm surrounded by cornfields. I was going on rucks and runs, and by the way, Bach, that's rucks are humps for you former Marines. But I was going on rucks and runs and hikes and bike rides all through the spring, all through the summer. Get into the fall, I did 75 hard, right? So that was an outside workout every day, even when it was bitter cold, right? Last Sunday, I started phase 1 of the Live Hard program. 2 workouts a day, one of them outside every day, right? But it's on you to make that decision. But it's become such a meme, you know, these preppers, these so-called, you know, patriots, whatever you want to call them, who start breathing heavy, walking 50 yards to go check the mail, and they're stockpiling ammo, saying, "Ooh, our side has the guns and the bullets, I'm ready." Dude, no. No. Let's start with a basic 20 pounds. Okay, that's a chest rig with a few extra mags and a rifle. If you can't go out and ruck multiple miles carrying 20 pounds, you're not gonna survive in a gunfight. And even if that's not your objective, man, don't you want to have that chance to be there for your grandkids and your great-grandkids? And I realize life happens and things like cancer happen and it's terrible, but why risk going to something preventable like some sort of disease because you want a McDonald's and to sit on your butt all day? And I get that. I've been there, and I'll slide back towards that, and it's a constant struggle, but it's worth it. As somebody who's been 44% body fat to somebody who's now around 14, 15% body fat, and everything in between, I'm here to tell you it's worth it. It's worth feeling better about yourself. All right. Anyway, what have I missed here? Logic was not applied to code. Logic isn't applied to a lot of things. And Bach, that's exactly it. The ubiquitous they, want us out of shape, want us dependent, want us ready to peck the ground around their feet for a few kernels of corn. And each of us has the option to make that choice. And man, I'll tell you, 2 fantastic books. If you haven't read these books, you owe it to yourself. Sovereignty by Brian Mickler and Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. If you haven't read those books, get them on your reading list. Go to Amazon and spend the like $30 it's going to cost you to get the Kindle editions, or order the hard copies if you if you're not a digital reader. Get those books and get that information in. One of the most freeing things I've discovered in the last 90 days is it's my fault. I'm not happy with where I am financially. That's my fault. I'm not happy with my current level of fitness. That's my fault. Quit blaming other people. There will be things that are outside your control. But what things are in your control that you've opted not to control? It's like the song says, you can choose not to choose. You still have made a choice. All right, we're off in the weeds. We're off in the weeds, and it's almost 10 o'clock. And, take a look. I need my beauty sleep. You can tell I haven't been getting it. So one last thing. You guys may or may not know that we had an apparent, big asterisk, an apparent 2A victory very shortly before Christmas. Nice little Christmas gift. We've had a nice little respite. The ATF had a request for public comment on a proposed clarification about pistol braces. And if you took the time to read the documentation, clarification was about the furthest thing from what that was. Went through and muddied the waters even further. And then at the very end of the document, it says, this document does not have the force of law and does nothing to bind citizens. So, if somebody can explain to me how that's clarification, I'm all ears, or, well, eyes. It's the live chat over here. Anyway, shortly before Christmas, the Department of Justice and the ATF actually withdrew the request for comment. Like I said, a seeming victory. What I'm concerned with, and this is where it would have been fun to have Elias on too, just bounces, this is a conspiracy theory. This is the reason for the tinfoil. What are you guys' thoughts, though? You think that the ATF just took all of the public comment, all of the complaint about how vague that document was, just to compile data to really put some nasty teeth in the next version of it? I don't know. Honestly, I think by that point they withdrew it because they know that one of Biden's early intentions is to ban pistol braces by executive fiat. I've been looking for something like that for over a year now. You guys can go back, check the previous live streams. Once again, all of those have been uploaded here to Tactical Review Live, so I apologize for any confusion and inconvenience, but once again, live.tacticalreview.com, that will bring you to this channel. And so for Tactical Review political discussion, you can feel free to share this with your friends. I will get an easier to use like a vanity URL as soon as we hit 100 subscribers over here. Until that point, though, live.tacreview.com will always point to either the upcoming live stream or the most recent live stream. So you guys can always find that. Of course, if you're not following over on social media, you can do that. I am Tactical Review 2019 at MeWe, Parler, Facebook, and Instagram. So make sure you're following the channel over there. That gives us several ways to keep in contact aside from hanging out here in the live chat. And I would recommend follow on more than one. I am most active on Instagram currently until I get zucked and have to go elsewhere. If you're looking for some nice merchandise, some t-shirts, some stickers, here's our current stickers. I've got a new design that I'm working on. It kind of updates this and makes it work a little nicer on the white background, but you guys can pick that up at store.tacreview.com. I do have some shirts on hand, and if you'd happen to order something that I'm out of stock on, I should still have it to you within a couple of weeks. Make sure down in the description, check out our sponsors. We've got Freedom Reload and Arms. I forgot completely to mention Skyler. Really appreciate him. He's down in he's just south of Lafayette, Indiana. Has reloading supplies on hand. What he can get a hold of. Does have some completed ammunition, has a few firearms. So if you are rolling through north central Indiana, definitely check him out. Check him out on Facebook and give him a follow. That link is in the description. Also down there, you guys can head over to the National Concealed Carry Association and check out their TAC-X tactical gear. You can use the link in the description. That is a referral code, and the channel will get a commission off of anything you buy from them. So appreciate the sponsorship from those awesome companies, and look forward to reaching out and working with more industry partners. Speaking of, we are getting very close to that 1,000 subscriber mark over on the main channel. Again, that's www.tacreview.com or youtube.com/c/tactical review. Make sure you head over there and subscribe. That's where you're going to get actual gear reviews and kind of the original inspiration of the channel. Yesterday, I actually just premiered a new video talking about the current evolution of my EDC and made that in large part as a resource for all of our new firearms owners who realized in 2020 that they are their own first responder. So that's a great resource from them. You can actually get directly to that video right now on January 6, 2021. You can get to that by going to new.tacreview.com and take you straight to that video right now. That's one of those evolving links. It's always going to go to the newest video on that main channel. Anyway, we are over 800 subscribers over there. We're looking to do a big giveaway at 1,000. So if you're not subscribed to the main channel, head over there and get subscribed. Bach, head to store.tacreview. They're $1.50 with free shipping for a single, and then I have bulk discount. So just head over there and check it out. You can buy 1, 3, or 5, maybe even 1, 5, and 10. I don't remember. It's been a while. Head over there to the store and place your order. I think I still have 25 or 30 on hand. So otherwise, I'm working again with a local printing company to get more. So if you order more than what I have on hand, you're going to get kind of a mixed bag. These are a paper-based sticker. So these are, put them on your gun safe or whatever. Put them on lunch boxes and coolers and things like that. I am working on getting some vinyl stickers, some all-weather stickers, if you're looking for stuff to put on your car. Also, I do throw in a free sticker with every shirt. So you can go over and pick yourself up a t-shirt and get you a free sticker that way. Alrighty. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We are after 10 o'clock. I really appreciate you joining in here. Couple of last orders of business. Of course, if you want to support the channel directly, you can do that at Patreon or Subscribestar. You can get over there. Any little bit, even $1 a month, will help. Helps go towards buying accessories, ammunition when I can find it, even the firearms and things that we review. Currently, my paid supporters do get early access to the videos, and I'm looking to start up some extra giveaways where the items, probably going to start giving away some of the items that we review here on the channel. The ones that are worth a hoot will go out every month to one of our lucky Patreon Subscribestar supporters. Of course, I don't have all the details on that hashed out, but just standard disclaimer: void where prohibited, must be 18 to enter, no purchase necessary to enter. All that good malarkey, but since that's not going just yet, I probably didn't actually have to do that. Anyway, guys, looking forward to more hangouts of the live variety. Glad that I got this in on the first Wednesday of the new year. Looking to get back a little bit more regular after that holiday break that I took. Really excited. I'm working on a pistol optic kind of preview. I'll have just a few rounds under it. Once again, finding that ammunition is difficult. Hoping to have that out soon. So once again, tune in on the main channel. And guys, until next time, appreciate you. Shoot straight. Stay safe.